World Most Hated Supervillainess, Anissa. Origin Explained. Intro. The Invincible comic book series is one of the most non-traditional comics so far. Written by the writer of The Walking Dead, Robert Kirkman, the comics have a great deal of violence and darkness. The art is yet pretty bright and similar to regular comics. Robert Kirkman has always pushed the limits with this book, especially in terms of violence, and the massive power levels of its character. His bold step of getting the male star of the book raped is certainly out of the box. In today's video, we will analyze one of Kirkman's strong female characters, Anissa. Anissa is not just all about power, but also about rage and evil. In fact, she is the one who raped the half-blood Viltrumite and the male star Mark Grayson, aka Invincible. She belongs to the top tier of her species and also went toe-to-toe with Omni-Man. She is heinous and one of the most chilling villains in the series. Her descriptive sexual assault on Mark, as shown in the comics, is far beyond traumatizing, especially when she promised a round 2 to Mark after completing her act. Mark, who is also quite a powerful character in his own right, is easily taken down by Anissa. Finding himself in a helpless state, Mark started crying, but that barely moved Anissa. She is definitely the most hated villainess in comic books for this, and fans are wondering if her brutality will be shown in Amazon Prime's version of the comic.
Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
Who is Anissa? Anissa is a Viltrumite warrior sent to Earth to aid in the preparations for the Viltrumite invasion. She is centuries old and was born on Viltrum. She would be one of the many soldiers to witness Thrag's ascension as Grand Regent of the Viltrum Empire. On her arrival on Earth, Anissa interrupted Mark Grayson and Debbie Grayson's meal to grab Mark's attention. She threatened to kill Mark's mother in order to get him to accompany her, and took off with Mark in the skies and to persuade him to help with the Viltrumite coup. She expressed her regret to him and continued her lecture by describing how the Viltrumites will convert Earth into a utopia for centuries, eradicating sickness, violence, and death. A concerned Mark inquired as to what transpired, after which she revealed the Viltrumites' plan for the planet's ultimate annihilation. Cecil Stedman interrupted their talk, and Mark had to defend a cruise liner that was being attacked by a monster. She volunteered her support in the hopes of persuading Mark to help her achieve her aim. Anissa strikes Mark when he refuses to join the Viltrumites. Soon, Anissa is seen storming the Coalition of Planets headquarters in Talos Krea. She then grabbed Tech Jacket and later tried to murder him by bear embracing him, but she was assaulted by Thetis and forced to release him. Nolan assaulted her when she snatched Thetis and Tech Jacket. She became enraged and assaulted him, calling him a shame because of his disloyal status, and subsequently assaulted Alan after Mark and Kid Omni-Man destroyed the Viltrumite battleship. Anissa retreats to Viltrum with Thrag and other Viltrumites, where she and other Viltrumites prepare for an invasion by the Coalition. After Thrag had nearly killed Nolan and Mark, she was spotted escaping with them and other Viltrumites. The Viltrumites then came to Earth and quietly lived among humans to replenish their numbers, and Anissa is seen sitting on a bench, irritated by the two males who are flirting with her. She was later spotted on the moon after Thrag tried to murder Nolan. Craig, Thula, and Lucan accompanied her. Thrag informs him that Nolan is Argyle's son, and that he is too fragile to rule. Anissa and the others turn on him and seek to assassinate Thrag. Nolan then requests that they halt and spare him. She and other Viltrumites gathered aboard the vessel for Nolan's inauguration ceremony. She assisted the Guardians of the Globe in their fight against Dr. Seismic, where she flew through a magmamite beast conjured by Dr. Seismic, just like she did when she first landed on Earth. Mark, who was horrified by this, soared up to the sky level to find out who had done it. She stated that she had killed the beast there. Mark inquires of her motivation, noting the fact that he observed her observing him and his father arm wrestling. She refused him and stated that she was paying attention to Mark, not Nolan. To Mark's amazement and dismay, she kissed him and took off in the hopes of seeing him again. Anissa would track down Mark for the first time in 6 months. She inquires as to his whereabouts. Before Mark could continue his comment, she cut him off by reminding him about the Viltrumite purpose of procreating with humans and how she wasn't fulfilling her half of the bargain. Anissa interrupts Mark as he tries to escape and explains her aversion to mating with humans. She assured him that, despite his youth and frailty, she would settle with mating with him because of his Viltrumite ancestry. Soon Anissa violently rapes Mark and gives birth to Mark's son, Marky, a few months after Mark departed Earth. Anissa would marry a man called Scott, and have a daughter between that time. She rushes aboard the Viltrumite warship after learning Mark has returned to Earth, and Eve assaults her. Anissa is a stunning Caucasian woman who is a true Viltrumite in every sense. Her life goals are motivated by 3 key ideas: complete allegiance to the Viltrumite Empire, physical strength beyond all else, and war glory. These 3 ideas are all that matter to her. That hasn't changed at all during her stay on Earth. She hasn't bothered to integrate with the humans around her, and she regards them as inferior beings. Having said that, Anissa is far from being crazy or sociopath. Anissa possesses the tremendous superhuman power that would be expected of a Viltrumite lady of her age, height, weight, and build who engages in severe regular training. Anissa is one of the universe's remaining full-blooded Viltrumite ladies. Her extraterrestrial genetics bestows her incredible superhuman strength, speed, durability, stamina, and ability to fly independently. Anissa bears these characteristics in greater amounts than any other known Earth-born hero or heroine. Anissa, like other Viltrumites, matures at a fraction of the pace that humans do, and she may be expected to live for thousands of years if she doesn't suffer an untimely and terrible death. She is a competent Viltrumite Empire warrior who has been fighting for almost 1,000 years. Besides her martial skills, Anissa is a brilliant orator with a basic grasp of Viltrumite technology and astrogation. Anissa has an acute type of intermittent explosive disease, an uncommon behavioral disorder. It is marked by outlandish displays of passion, frequently to the point of uncontrollable rage that is out of proportion to the issue at hand. She is not a person who would take no for an answer, which is shown from her sexual encounter with Mark. The violence she meted out to Mark for copulation is beyond cruelty. While the traumatized Mark went into tears, Anissa enjoyed raping him. All these make her the worst villainess in comic books ever. Are we going to see Invincible's most controversial scene appear on Amazon Prime? It's difficult to deny that much of Amazon's Invincible's alterations to its original material are for the better. With the original authors of the comic, Robert Kirkman and Cory Walker, participating in the production process, there is still little doubt that it will be faithful to the spirit of the narrative. So far, the adaptation has provided a welcome chance to fill out the supporting characters, including diversity where it was previously absent, and play with the sequence of events in order to condense the story for television. Looking ahead to the storylines that the animated series may take from the comic, it's difficult to overlook Invincible number 110. The issue sparked outrage upon its first release for exposing the series' main character to severe sexual assault, and deciding whether or not to adapt it is a difficult decision. When Invincible number 110 was released in 2014, it became the most contentious issue in the comic's history, depicting the horrific sexual assault of Invincible himself. The hero of the comic is leaving a conversation with his lover when he is unexpectedly confronted by the Viltrumite Anissa. The Viltrumites are a powerful, extraterrestrial species that values strength above all else. And because of Invincible's tremendous exploits, Anissa wants to conceive his child in order to improve the might of her people. Anissa takes Invincible to the ground, trades bloody punches with him, and eventually rips his uniform off as she imposes herself onto him. Invincible is badly traumatized as a result of the scenario, and the later issues focus on the aftermath of those events. In an interview with CBR, writer Robert Kirkman described the challenge of writing the sequence, wanting to handle it properly without sensationalizing it, and how the Amazon series would likely meet that razor's edge again in the future. It's a problem that previous cartoon versions have had to deal with varying degrees of fan approval. The plot's insulting backdrop is one of the reasons why many critics argue that Invincible number 110 should not have featured it in the first place. Such voices, who are skeptical of Hollywood's capacity to handle sexual assault delicately, may see the chance to cut the sequence as an enhancement to the plot. Many people who consider superhero fiction to be nothing more than escapism perceive Invincible's sexual assault as going too far. Even those who believe the scenario may work conceptually may object to its implementation, in which case its incorporation in the Amazon series may be largely a question of how to properly pull it off. While the series toys around with the timing of events in its source material, it's difficult to predict when the program will mirror the same time frame as issue number 110. So far, the series has been free to make modifications, large and minor, but in the future, it will have to decide how best to portray this specific scenario, if it should be portrayed at all.
And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.